Let's take a stop out of our busy schedule here and talk about the Macintosh Windows connection. Because I know a lot of you guys are using Macs, a lot of you guys are using Windows. I do use both systems at university. We're Windows, my studio is Mac. I know both systems. The good news is there is very little physical difference between the two in terms of the interface and stuff like that. It's just some of these keys that we have to contend with. So if I ruled the world, you ever wonder what would happen if you ruled the world? I'd probably make a big mess of it. But I would get Macintosh and Microsoft together and say, name the keys the same things. Let's talk about this just for a second. But don't forget, technical information is about to be disseminated, so please stay alert at all times. Modifier keys. Number one, the main modifier key on a Macintosh is the Command key. But on a Windows, it's called Control. It's the same key. It's just a different name. The secondary modifier key is the Option key on a Mac. I call that the Make Better key. Or it's the Alt key in Windows. Again, same key. No difference whatsoever, just different names. Now, what I call the actionable keys, the main actionable keys are the Return key or the Enter key. So a lot of times if I say, press the Enter key. Well, if you're on a Mac, it's not called the Enter key. It's actually called the Return key. That's the one I would want you to use. Mac actually does, if you have a full-size keyboard, have a Return key, and it has an Enter key. But the main key that we think of, like on a typewriter when you go down to the next line, Return or Enter. Now, the secondary is the Delete, or I call the secondary, the Delete key on a Mac, and they give this one a different name too, the Backspace key in Windows. So if I want you to say delete something, it's actually the Backspace key in Windows, delete on a Mac. Same keys, different names. Now, left click, right click. If you're on a Macintosh and you have a single click mouse, they still do make those, but most of the time, most of us have a two-click mouse now. But the left click is just click. Just click your mouse. The right click is control. Understand, Macintosh keyboards do have a control key, C-O-N-T-R-O-L, not C-T-R-L. And you would use that with a mouse click to get a right click. On Windows, left click is the left button, right click is the right button. But if you're like me and you have a two-click Macintosh mouse, well, it works the same anyway. Let's talk about what I call the keyboard dilemma. I don't want to overcomplicate anything, but if you own a Macintosh computer and you're using a Macintosh keyboard, then all bets are on for what I just told you. If you're using a Windows keyboard on a Mac, you can do that? Of course you can. It's just a USB device. You go to any office store and pick up a keyboard. But the problem there is the bets are off because the keys will be labeled as Windows keys. Again, like I said, I don't want to overcomplicate this. I know you guys probably already understand that. But if you're looking at your keyboard and I'm saying press the Command key on a Mac and you're saying, I don't have a Command key, I got a Control key, you may have a Windows-based keyboard. Probably don't, but just in case. On-screen support. Tell you what, we got your back. Watch for the helpers. Well, for example, I tell you to press Command-Option-D. Now, that would be the way I would do it on a Macintosh, but in Windows, it would be Control-Alt-D. You'll see something like this come up to help you out. If it's just a single press, for example, the letter D on your keyboard when pressed in Photoshop will default your foreground and background colors to black and white. You'll see something like this come up. We got your back here. We're going to help you out as much as possible putting all of this together. Remember, it's all about knowing how to do things that's going to make you more confident, and it's going to make this whole thing go a whole lot better for you. It goes better, you're more creative. Enough said.